Hey,
Hi
what's up,
guys,
everyone?
how you doing?
So, today is the EthOS developer update, July
Yeah.
8th. And happy phase 0 to everyone. EthOS is coming and we are near to achieve this. So, that's pretty cool. I'm very excited for it, by the way.
Yep.
So, let's start the developer update with some slides about what is coming, basically. So, last time we talked about granular governance and why these things will change everything in the space. This time, I want to go deep into what will be released in the day one of the EthOS DFO. Granular governance is basically one of the best things to achieve kind of like a real governance on chain that make totally sense. So you have the DFL level protocol, which is kind of like the GitHub permissions to decide changing in codes, basically. And the sub-DAO level is a more secure level to kind of like make small changes, fix things into the whole structure. And that's divide the governance of projects between different kind of things, from coders to users to holders of tokens and so on and so forth. If you want to go deep in this, I think the last developer update was very, very cool to kind of like having a big picture about what the granular governance is and why it's so important to achieve this in the entire space. So let's start to the day one things into the new DFO architecture. So I think one of the coolest things, which I really love, is the delegation and grants. Because it's kind of like what is some other project in this space try to do, but they are doing like using node people with multisig and just vote to send it to the multisig. To go deep in this, the delegation and grants of the EthOS, and this feature will be available for every other DFO in the future. So everyone can use these things basically, which is pretty cool. It's kind of like a system in which, from the earning of the EthOS DFO, they were split in different parts, and some of the parts go to the grants. And how the grants are managed. Anyone can create a delegation, and the grants they received are based on how much OS staked there are into one delegation or another. And this is pretty cool because delegations can be a very powerful group of people that can kind of like decide how to invest money into different things that they are important for the whole ecosystem, basically. I mean, there can be a delegation that maybe do things for marketing, other delegation that maybe do things for improving kind of like the stack, the front ends, the interfaces, or a podcast, or everything that people think is important. And at the end of this MAA, we will open a new chat into our Discord to start organizing some delegations. To be ready for the day one, to open your delegation, having your supporters, and basically start to use this feature from the beginning. And another interesting thing about delegation is that they are totally secure. And they can be run by anonymous people too, which is very cool, and which is the thing that we want to achieve, basically. Delegation are totally secure because when you build a delegation, you are basically building a sub-DAO, okay? And people stake their OS in your delegation, and they receive your delegation token, basically. And with your delegation token, you can create proposal, and people can vote. And you can do two things. The first things is to kind of like manage funds you get from grants. And the second thing is to use all of the OS staked to vote into the sub-DAO and other level of the organization. So delegation is kind of like a political party or something like this, which I think is pretty cool. And about the security, first of all, if the delegation receives funds from the public treasury, there is kind of like a security system in which if a delegation loses 50% of the staked token into a very small time frame, all of the funds are kind of like frozen, and they should kind of like take back most of the stakers to unlock the funds, or if not, they will come back to the public treasury. And so the whole ecosystem is secure that if a delegation try to kind of like scam their sustainator, spending money in things that their staked token thinks is not good, they will just come back to the treasury. And this is delegation. I will be very happy to see these things, which I think is very important. And I think it's very important to starting to organizing delegation 1 month before kind of like the release, because it will be cool and it will be fun. Another interesting thing about the EthOS DFO is the investment management. Another part of the earnings will go into the investment management sub-DAOs. And this is pretty cool because it gave to people to holder basically another kind of like business model rather than the regular business model of the platform, which is about investing in long terms about projects. And how this works. So every splitting of the earnings event, automatically this sub-DAO buy 4 of the tokens which are chosen by the holder to be to get the word to be both, okay, by the 20%, and 20% of OS that will be burned. And what will happen, and why this is a long-term investing, which I think is the best way to approach this. Every week, the fixed inflation of this sub-DAO will sell 5 tokens from the treasury, and the public treasury take the earnings from this. And this is pretty cool because help people that they want to kind of like thinking about long-term investments. And so this will be fun to manage, I think, for all of you. Another thing is dividends. Dividends is kind of like another cool things. By the way, all of these applications we are using for EthOS will be kind of like able for other DFOs to use, because there is kind of like this new structure about the factories of factories or the very, very early announced Minecraft, which is, so basically anyone can create factories that other DFOs can use. And this will be all of the factories that will be able, not just for the EthOS DFO, but for other DFO that will start their own project. Dividends are taken from the public treasury, and it's kind of like a reward for farmers. And so you will be able to farm Ethereum from the earnings by adding liquidity to OS in Uniswap v3, which I think is pretty cool, because it's kind of like the first time that someone creates kind of like dividends from an organization in kind of like a totally on-chain way from real earnings for the organization, which is what is happening into the ecosystem right now, which I think is pretty cool. And another thing, which I think is pretty interesting to experiment, will be kind of like the business model of the EthOS DFO. Because we figured out that it's kind of like better for holder and for the long terms, that people should kind of like not just having kind of like regular fees from the applications, and if you want to know all of the fees from the application, so from the covenants, from the organizations, and so on, you just go to the EthOS website and you can find everything into ethos.link/os.html. There are regular fees. So, for example, if you use kind of like general purpose farming contract for your application, and you build your farming contract there with Uniswap V3 or with the aggregator and so on, people will pay kind of like a fee using this. And obviously, the fees are decided by the sub-DAO, so people can decide what the fees are, and these fees are based on the tokens that people are using, for example. But this is not enough, because we added kind of like a OS burn fee, which is pretty cool, because you as a user to use kind of like protocols, you can choose if you want to pay a regular fee or if you want to pay OS burn fee. And so depending on what you're doing, maybe sometimes it's better for you to burn OS, or maybe sometimes it's better for you to just pay the regular fee. And the thing is that people, by using the serverless sub-DAOs to kind of like choose the fees, they can kind of like manage the investments in the kind of like the long run of the organization, because in some period maybe it's better for the organization having low regular fees because you want more earnings, and some other times it's better to kind of like not investing into the earnings but into the burn of the OS. And so you will be able to kind of like playing with these two things, and I think it's kind of pretty cool about this. And so, what do you think, Vaz? I think it's everything for today.
Yeah, I think that we've shown a lot of stuff. So yeah, sub-DAO,
What's going on here? Oh my God! Oh shit!
NSA agent Mario Tobini with partner Osso Buccini. Break-in in EthOS headquarters has been completed.
It's time for phase 2. What is going on here? We know you're working on something. We must know.
I will never tell you.
Let's see. With this.
Really? You want to scare me with this?
Okay. What if I draw a unicorn?
Whoa. Okay. I will tell you. Introducing item V2.
What the hell is going on here, guys? Hope you enjoyed this little sketch we prepared. Thanks for the guy who participated. And now we are talking about item version 2. I'm really happy to present this new protocol we are refactoring because we really want people to use it. So we went back on our steps. Okay, the slides are on. Okay, everything is okay now. And we improved the item v2 protocol. We started to developing it because we want to add more functions for developers and to be more easy to develop on top on the items. And the first thing the first rule we follow it is to keep the code base as much as small as possible, just to have more lightweight code, and of course to be more easy to deploy for developers. And we have a lot of news for the item v2 core. The first of all is that all the items will be stored and served by a singleton collection. This means that even if you're creating your personal collection, okay, it will be stored inside a singleton one, storing every kind of item. And this is too cool to manage, because of course you have less addresses to manage, and it will be more easy to use and develop on top. And of course the two souls, the ERC1155 and the ERC20 or interoperable one, still are there for you, and they will continue to be used because we want to use item for every kind of application and to be interoperable with any kind of protocol or application or sector of applications. And this led us to unleash the real power of the batch transfers, because if you have just one collection to manage all the items, of course you can transfer different items at the same time. You can do it with item v2, with item v1 also, but of course you are forced to use just one collection per time. So for example, if you want to transfer two items of two different collections, you cannot do it with item v1. With item v2, it will be absolutely possible to decrease the gas costs. So the batch transfers will cost less. And of course, developers can develop more less complex application and less complex integration stuff to integrate with items, and it will be more easy to use and develop again. And let's suppose, for example, that you want to buy a Tesla with a batch transfer. So you transfer your items to Tesla and to buy for example a Cybertruck. If you use batch transfer just for with just one collection per time, of course you can transfer just, for example, only CryptoKitties, because you are using the collection that manages the item collection, which manages CryptoKitties. I don't think that Elon will be happy to try to receive just CryptoKitties in just one transfer. With the singleton collection, the best transfer will be more powerful, and you can, for example, transfer in the same transaction with just one transfer. For example, CryptoKitties, Shiba Inu, an ENS domain, for example, elonisawesome.eth, or Ethereum, Rapid Bitcoins, and even OS, for example. And of course, Elon will be happy for this, I think.
Yeah, Elon is proud there.
Yeah. But we understand that to manage a single collection per time can be really useful. Imagine, for example, that you are implementing or developing your own video game. Okay, you want to manage all the items over your own collection, over your own video game, just using your own rules. Okay, you can do it. Like in the V1, the item V1. But of course, the collection you will create, they are just projection, okay, of the singleton one. So projection for us is a collection which is able to manage just item on one single collection. But this will let your users to transfer and manage your items, the items of your application, using two addresses: the singleton one, the main one, which is the item v2 collection, and of course the projections and the balances, the transfers, and the total supply is always the same, even because the projections are just, of course, projections like holograms, okay, of the main collection, but just focused to one collection per time. So all the stuff used and all the behavior that item v1 has will be brought to the will be brought. I think that it's the correct term. Will be brought to the item v2 too. And now the stuff that I like the most because
that's crazy. That's crazy.
Prepare, because we are working on something like this even in the 0.3 of the DFO protocol, but now with item v2 it can be implemented in a better way, and I'm talking about the dynamic metadata. Metadata are all those data that you can save, for example, actually in IPFS storage, and people and websites use it to render your items, your NFTs in general. Okay, for example, there are data about description, images, and whatever. But of course, they are stored in a off-chain store. With dynamic metadata, we can, for example, we can, for example, create metadatas on the fly, okay, directly on chain, and this can be really cool to use to have a personal behavior for your own items, and, for example, improve the experience of your users.
Just to be clear, we are talking about dynamic metadata. So we are not talking about just changing the IPFS link like item v1, but to generate the data directly on chain, which I think is pretty transforming, because what the industry needs is to have the data and information about tokens, NFTs, or game items and things, or even DFO tokens, governance token from different organizations directly on chain with their information, images, and obviously the application too. So I kind of, when we started this, kind of like to try to create kind of like a general purpose way to do this, we thought was kind of like, oh, we create the item. So another kind of like impossible challenge was like this. You remember that?
Yeah, absolutely. But of course, we want always more. So we created the dynamic metadata too. This doesn't mean that you can use metadata in the old way. Okay, you can also store data in off-chain storage, IPFS, or Google Images, whatever you want. But you can use both if you want, and you can switch, of course, between one or the first one or the second one when you want. And of course, you can draw. You can build your own drawer just to create metadata as you wish. For example, let's suppose we have a video game, an RPG video game with a character named Pino. So say hello to Pino, everyone. And for example, this is an example of dynamic metadata because all the data are taken from the chain and elaborated. Okay. For example, now we are visualizing the strength in battle level of Pino, which is 30%. But for example, there can be another store of items selling weapons for video games, okay, which cannot be also in the same game. So with item v2, you can have more video games interoperating each other, or of course, any other type of application, not only video games. And for example, we want to buy a sword to improve the capabilities of Pino. And when I just complete the purchase of the sword, and I, for example, refresh the page, the dynamic metadata will be re-rendered. And of course, we have a Super Pino now, which a sword and its strength in battle arm is increased. Okay, so this is the power of the dynamic metadata. You can share both static resources, like, for example, the name or whatever, but you can also have dynamic information as you wish. For example, when you visualize the the metadata of ERC20 wrapped token, okay, you can have several information, like for example, total supply, how much balance you have, and the image of the token, everything in just one image, which is dynamically reproduced using dynamic metadata. To conclude, we can say that OS will be the very first one item v2 token. And we are working simultaneously on the 0.5 and the item v2 protocol to be released, and we will release both very soon. So I think that you will enjoy that. Thank you.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I think this will be very transforming.
Yeah.
Because, you know, kind of like items in the first version, I remember, was very, very designed to be kind of like transform the industry in kind of like the way that to have a single token standard that you can use everywhere, that you have all the information on chain, so you don't need to rely on off-chain things. And but we figured out that these things about different collection was very kind of like not so good for people, because you can't do batch transfer with all of the collection existing. You must pay for the gas for the collection every time you just want maybe to mint an item and things. And I think that nobody is talking about items, about covenants, about organizations, is that the most cooler things about EthOS is that it's kind of like an operating system, like that's kind of like a platform. You have all of the things you need to operate into Ethereum with kind of like a base security layer. And everything is about factories. So there's not about coders that like everything outside from the EthOS ecosystem, that they just develop their own contract, or they take a contract and deploy by their own, but all contracts are automatically on chain, taken by the factory and extended by their extension. What does this mean? That the base layer of security for people is there, and you are secure when you use a farm contract from covenants or an item. And in the extension, they can be extended logic, but without kind of like scam people. And I think this will be very important, because at the end of the day, so EthOS in the next year will really change Ethereum by removing the most important things for kind of like the FUD, and why people are not, I mean, regular people, when they are not using Ethereum, because you don't know if this new DeFi app is a scam, or if you should put money there. And this will be very, very important for the next years to come. So, by the way,
can I do something about the item v2?
Yeah, sure.
Ale said a lot of correct words. And when we started working to the item v1, okay, we were focused to solve some problems not addressed in the Ethereum world, because they are where everything was solved using off-chain. So we just start to work and to build something working on chain. And when we realized it, okay, we could have the freedom to watch it and say that can be do more for people and for the ecosystem. So we realized it item v2 for this reason. And another thing is that, of course, all the logic with the extensions, programmable extensions and whatever will remain the same of the v1. It is more improved, of course, by the new APIs, which can let you do more. Just like this.
Yeah. I think we should start by go to the July 8th question on Discord.
Yep.
Just give me a moment to share the other screen. So let's stop the screen and let's take the other. So just give me a moment. Okay. So this. Share screen. Window. Okay. Share. And here we go.
Cool.
So Let's go to the question. So the first question is from Davey. Anything? Because he was the first one.
Do you think this is enough, bro?
No, I mean, I don't know. No, I think he was joking. I think it was very cool. I mean, I gave you a Nokia.
For the strength.
Yeah. Second is for Nick. With the tool and interface presented via the v0.5, how easily will it be for a non-developer, no solid background to build and manage DFOs? That's a good question. I think because in the ecosystem you have like two ways of thinking. Okay, the first way of thinking is kind of like a company that built for you different factories, different microservices, which I think people can kind of like build something like this on top of this from now on, and they can earn money by creating factories and things, because you can also create kind of like a DFO that just build factories and take fees from their factory usage, and so other DFOs can take this application, customize a little bit, and do it for their own. So yeah, and the more time DFO will be released in 0.5, the more you will able to do without need to know how to code. And it's kind of like interesting that you will have kind of like into the interface a lot of help about understanding if this factory is trustable or not, based on how much DFOs will use this and other things. So,
yeah, I want to add something. Of course, when we started to develop the 0.5, we, of course, are working on the documentation too, to help everyone to understand the protocol and how to develop it in the very first phase. But we are working a lot even for improve the use of the protocol and the entire ecosystem, even for non-coders. So not in the very first phase, but our energies are focused to let more people to enjoy the entire ecosystem. So we are working on it. So stay tuned for amazing news in the future.
Yeah, I think
something linked to the future. I don't know.
Linked to the future.
Yeah, I don't know.
Thing. I don't know. Maybe.
Okay. I think that it is difficult to manage. Okay.
Frieza looks like futuristic because it's kind of like an alien, so that makes sense.
This is not even my final form. Okay, I got it. Yes, it's cool. Cool. You got it. Okay.
How fast will someone be able to deploy a new DFO from start to finish? It depends on how much gas you put in your Ethereum transaction. So if you put a lot of gas, it will be very kind of like fast. I mean, it's kind of like a wizard to build it in the beginning, and then you add the function and things. So it's, I don't know how to say how to respond to this. So it depends on.
Of course, it will depend on the gas in two phases. Of course, how much gas do you put in your transaction, and how much gas Ethereum available gas in Ethereum there is for one transaction. So we are, of course, we are finding the correct throughput to do less transactions as possible, and we are working on it. I think that with the use of the factories, we can do a wizard less complex. Yes, less complex than the current one.
Yeah.
So here something linked to the gas. I don't know. Go. Okay.
I mean,
yeah.
It's more gas in there. So after using the OS explainer, I'm not sure that I had the burn fee option is stated in the OS token or their dollar value. No, is in the OS token. So this is interesting. I want to reply this. In the beginning, it will be about the OS token. So with the sub DAO, you will be able to choose how much OS token people should burn for different functions. But I'm pretty excited to like looking at the new version of the Rapid USD and maybe the adoption of it thanks to more fees with the Uniswap v3 and so on and so forth. I think at some point, when the Rapid USD will be mostly used, we will be able to do an oracle about pricing dollar in burning OS rather than just the number of OS. So this is interesting because it's something I'm looking to it, and yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, he is doing an example here because
regular fee option 0.03. Oh yeah, because
the dollar, $2 worth and all that.
This was because sometimes people use the dollar before the token to mean that this is a token, and so this was just for this, like on Twitter. So it's not dollar OS. But thank you for the question, because I think at this point is it's kind of like I think it was kind of like my fault.
No, I don't think so. It can be confusing, but we use it a lot of times. Even, for example, in the second in the next question, there is.
So it's, but by the way, it's 2OS.
2OS, yeah.
So thank you for the question, and I hope if people confuse this, address this for everyone. I think
something confusing.
Oh, this one.
Okay.
Confusion. Oh, there is my meme too. Thank you, Walkabout. I'm curious as why you choose Uni, Gitcoin, Tor, Gnosis as they need some investment for the long-term investment. Should they be following on this? Yeah, that's a great question. It's kind of like they are there, but they will be changed I think by people very, very easily if they want. It was kind of like the main project on Ethereum, which are widely respected, and we said, okay, we just put this and wait that the people will choose different tokens just to start, so without any kind of like consideration about them. But thank you for the question, because this is the first time I talk about this. I think what do you think about Bulbasaur?
Bulbasaur, okay.
Oh,
okay.
Will the Where's My Dragon inflation go on since the EthOS introduces? Did not see anything about it. Yeah. That's a great question. Because we are considering two things. So the first one is that Where Is My Dragon inflation will finish in kind of like 2 months and a half after the release. And so we are just thinking about to continue it, because to manage the Where Is My Dragon inflation, we just do kind of like several changes into the fixed inflation thing, and we are kind of like thinking about to continue this, or to maybe just put the Ethereum in kind of like regular basis of day by day, from the beginning to the end, to the Where Is My Dragon treasury, and just go on. I mean, we will talk about this, and maybe we will have a discussion what's the best approach to it.
Okay.
I think there is a dragon here. No, we don't have a meme of a dragon.
I don't think that this is the first time we encountered this problem.
Yeah, and okay. So I think,
do we have a lizard or something like that?
No.
Okay.
I think we can use missing now.
Missing now. Okay.
Will OS token be able to vote to change the structure of sub-DAOs? For example, change the 8 tiers of the fair inflation, like 8 tiers, just an example. Other central things that the OS token cannot change. It's kind of like about the gradual governance. So the governance will be split into the OS governance from the tokenless governance in different pieces. Because when a sub-DAO is released, the governance of the DFO level can just update the sub-DAO, but they can't vote into the sub-DAO, or they can't use the fund there, or they can use the things there. And So in the beginning, it will be very, very minimalistic because it's kind of like the first version, the first release. And from time to time, you will be able to do more and more things as cool as the first release thing, which I think they are very, very cool in the beginning, and you will be able to do more and more. And not just voting, but with 0.5 and 0.6, a new thing we are kind of like researching now, you will be able to kind of like building governances and sub-governances based on how much people are active, how much people are credible, and not just money or tokens. So you will be able to build very, very cool things into the future. And
Yeah.
And another interesting thing about the sub-DAOs, that sub-DAOs as the DFL level, they can have multiple tokens. So you will be able to kind of like build sub-DAOs with token that represent kind of like an incentives or another for people, and will be very, very interesting to see how people will use this feature to manage.
Also, of course, sub-DAOs are designed to have a static structure, fixed structure, okay, with some parameters that can be, of course, modified through voting. As Alice said, when you have to change something in the structure of the sub-DAOs, you can change sub-DAO.
Okay,
and
cool.
Abandon, deprecate the first one.
Cool.
Something linked to building for this?
Yeah, I think.
I don't know.
I mean, the big boss.
Okay, big boss builds everything.
What will item be do bring new to the protocol? A lot of things.
Do you want to ask this to our secret agents? I don't know.
I think you should look at the beginning of this development update, and you will see a lot of things. And but yeah, metadata on chain, batch transfer between all the existing things, and very lot of new things. And you will see with your own hands at the 0.5 release, I think. So that's pretty cool. I give you.
Okay.
Can you please post the exact price? Yeah, I already replied to Max Flyer about this specific things. This is the snapshot link and the EthOS website to see the switch rate about OS. Okay, so will you address the concern of the community? The snapshot obviously is snapped prices that are not even close to the fair market prices, to 100% in 30 minutes, and they dump back to 100%. I wonder what your option is on this. Opinion is on this compared to the average out prices, smoothing the prices to reflect fair prices, also weaken any direct manipulation of the option. Okay, so I'm approaching this question, and it's very interesting what's happened into these days, because we did a very incredible and cool job into the EthOS switch, because it was kind of like a proposal, basically. So we said to people, and we give to people, to everyone, the same information to kind of like choose what will be the switch ratio for the OS. So everyone known that in a week, based on the market cap, so based on the real market, and not kind of like what I think about these three tokens or what other people think about these three tokens, they will have the opportunity to decide this. So basically, at this block, every other things we were able to do was kind of like an arbitrary thing, because if we kind of like did these things at the announcement block, people just would because you're doing this specific block and this token is more valuable than this other, and the same if we did the same things at the 0.5 release, for example. And so we decided to do the fair things for the long run, because in the next years to come, when people will talk about OS and talk about us, they will know that we just ask to do people in a totally on-chain way what's their opinion, and that's what will happen. And what will happen after was very bad, because some bots, in most of the case, and some people threatened us to do a scam, basically, to kind of like changing the rules of the things just because some people were not happy with the results. And I want to use this question to say a thing, that this is, and so they are also kind of like fudding everywhere. They are kind of like using bots to fud us. They are kind of like spreading fake news about basically all of the things, because I watched the conversation before kind of like the block, and they spread kind of like fake news about maths, confusing people, and that's kind of bad. And they are feuding with kind of like mostly our fake accounts, because I don't know if you're calling you Pikachu 9503 and so on. But most of the things I really hated was kind of like DM threatening, because they threatened it that if we don't do what they want, if you don't just scam people and change the rules in a centralized way, they're continuing fighting us, they're fighting between us, and so on and so forth. And I think we don't want to scam people, so we never do this, because that's what's on-chain happened, basically. And I think if market do created things, it was just people that did this. It was just what the rule were, and people use it at their own things. Some people argue it was better to kind of like do a proposal, but it's the same that do a proposal, because if you create a proposal, so what's the value between a token to another, and people do market manipulation to have more tokens to vote to a supply between another. So it was kind of like the same thing, and so that's what people wanted, basically. And I know that some people will be happy, some people should be not happy, but we just did the right things without arbitrarily choosing for you, basically. And I think this is important to say. And this was a very interesting thing. And this makes me very, very, very proud about what we are doing, and exciting for the technology we are making. Because this is kind of like a very, very cool example about how important it is for the future of Ethereum that people will be able to execute code or execute things by voting. Because imagine a scenario for most of the DAOs that are there, that basically they are kind of like polls, de facto, that people choose something and other people that just don't like it, the result, they threaten devs and people to change things. And if what's happened to us will happen to other people. So I think it will be, a DFL will be very, very a game changer on that. And this is a real problem that should happen. And so thank you for the question. I think I'm happy to have addressed these things to anyone there. And let's go forward and give to this guy. I want to give him kind of like a cool emoji, because I had the opportunity to address these things. So I think there is nothing cooler than Pikachu. Like one of the fake accounts. What is your prediction for Italy versus England? This is very important. What's your prediction, Baza?
I don't really know. Because I don't follow soccer. So
yeah, I think I don't know, Italy versus England. I think it's the final. It's the finale. I think. Okay. Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting that England will be in the finale of the European match, because there is kind of like this joke that England
It's not European.
is not European, is European. So
Yeah.
that's just a joke. I don't know. I think Forza Italia.
Forza Italia. What the hell are you saying?
Yeah, I'm more into the.
Yeah.
So I think at this point we should put kind of like
A pizza?
the France,
Oh,
man.
God,
Oh yeah. Hero, kind of like one of the coolest guy in this community. I mean, I remember a lot of chats with him. Kudo has become a deflationary token if the system uses enough and inflation is high enough to compensate. Yeah, it is. It is, and it's pretty cool because it's pretty cool because it's dependent from how this how it's used, and yeah, it can be if most of people use all of the applications, and I think it will be very interesting to see what will happen there. And I think it's very cool that you can kind of organize the fees to invest in burning or earnings, and that would be cool, basically. And I give you OS, obviously. Can you guys refer to CD as based disk from now on? I don't get you.
Okay, it was a joke.
What will okay, but my question: what will the requirement to start an MTL delegation? Anyone can create a delegation. You will be able to talk about delegations and organize them into Discord now, into our Discord. I mean, from today or tomorrow, we will add this thing, and you will be able to create this from 0.5 on chain. And the requirements are just kind of like having people that put your token into it and build your credibility, and that if people think what you're doing is important, you receive the grants. And I think, yeah, this would be cool. This would be cool. I think it's kind of like one of the things I'm more interesting to see what will happen to it. And so, yeah, it will be very easy to manage a delegation. So don't worry. You don't need coding skills, if this is the question. So I give you kind of like okay, SCD. You choose for me. I want to see who was. Wow, it's all walkabout decided. So, guys, I think is everything for today. So let's see in next time, and EthOS is coming, and I'm totally excited for it.
Now we got back to work.
Yeah, that's so important. So, bye.